A very warm welcome to Study IQ. I am Prashant Mauni. I hope you all are doing good. Dear friends, the topic that we are going to discuss today is about the recent ban of Supreme Court on firecrackers. I must say that this ban is pertaining to the sale of firecrackers, right? So keep this in mind. And when we say recently, it was on 9th October when Supreme Court said that firecrackers won't be allowed to be sold in Delhi NCR region. Now, dear friends, this particular topic is important for your mains examination, and the reason why I say that it is important, if you go to your syllabus, then you will find that urbanization and issues related with it is part of your syllabus. Climate change is part of your syllabus. Pollution and associated issues with it is part of your syllabus. And there are other things as well, like public health and other things that we are going to discuss today. Everything is going to be part of your syllabus, and if you go back to your past papers, then you find that questions based on climate change and pollution are always there in your mains examination. Of course, I have included some items in this discussion that will help you with your prelims examination as well. So let's crack on. But before moving ahead, please allow me to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses for different exams like SSC, Bank, UPSC and other exams. Study IQ offers different pen drive and tablet courses. Now the good thing is that at present pre-Diwali sale is going on and you get 33% off. Now dear friends, this 33% off is not a small thing at all, and when you are getting a thing that is not only a study material, but it is a material that is designed by the best faculty of our country, so you can clearly say that you can go wrong with it. If you have any further queries regarding it, all you have to do is give us a call on this number, or you can also utilize the chat support that is available on studyiq.com. Dear friends, let's crack on. And when I was thinking like how should I discuss this thing with you, then I realized that if I directly start with pollution, then this is not going to be helpful to you, because until and unless we don't understand the severity of this particulate matter or the impact of pollution on our health, we won't be able to see the big picture. Now I'm sure you might have heard about this thing, particulate matters and PM, and I'm sure many of you know about PM 2.5. You might have heard about this thing. You might also have heard about this PM 10 as well. But the most important thing regarding this PM is, of course, it is one of the most dangerous particles that you can find. But when you compare this thing with our human hair, then you find that human hair, when we talk about its size, it is somewhere around 60 micrometer, but this PM 2.5 itself means that it is 2.5 micrometers. So it is so small that it is invisible to naked eyes, and because it is this tiny, it can easily find a path from our nostril to our lungs, and this is the most dangerous thing. What happens is that once you get if you are exposed to this PM 2.5 and 10 on regular basis, then gradually your lungs will be filled up with these particles, and then your lung function, its functioning gets or you can say its productivity reduces, right? And then it impacts our heart, and once our lungs are not able to breathe or take enough oxygen, then it will put more pressure on heart, and finally what happens is that due to too much pressure on heart, we get these CV diseases, that means cardiovascular diseases. Now dear friends, let me tell you that I'm not sharing this information to create a sort of panic. These are all scientific evidence. You can go through many medical journals and you will find this all things that we are discussing here. The main reason behind sharing with this thing is that, of course, you will understand the topic that we are going to discuss, and it is a sort of a responsibility as well, isn't it? It is a sort of social awareness as well, and I would appreciate if you can share these details with other things. You can share this lecture or the lecture slide with other people as well. I strongly believe that it will help them a lot. Now coming back to this particulate matter, recent studies are showing that it is responsible for different types of cancers as well. It is also causing some sort of brain related diseases like Alzheimer's and other diseases. And one of the most dangerous thing that I find is that the damage caused by this PM is irreversible. That means once you get them, once you are exposed to this thing, then that's it. At present, there is no sort of way out from this PM 2.5 and 10. Now talking about health, morning walk, which is considered one of the most healthy option, right? It is not only free of cost, but it is something that is I must say that in tune with our anatomy, or the way our human body is, right? We walk on we are bipedal living beings, right? So we walk on two legs. So this is one of the most we consume. It is, you can say that it is more, you can say, energy efficient. You get good mileage if you are walking on two legs. If you are running on two legs, then it is going to consume more energy. But if you are walking on two legs, then it is you can say you get a good mileage. You can walk for a longer period of time. Now, for elderly people, for all different people, right, this is one of the best easy exercise that is recommended by doctor. But what is happening at present, that if your air, if you are living in Delhi, and if the air is polluted, or if the level is quite high, pollution level, then morning walk in fact becomes dangerous. And that is one of the reasons why indoor exercises are recommended by doctors in Delhi. I'm sure we all know that it is the children who enjoy all different sorts of festivals, isn't it? May it be Holi or Diwali, it is the children who love them. But the thing is, very few of us know that they are, in fact, the children are a category of people who are in the high risk groups when it comes to the chemical of crackers. As per recent medical studies, it is found that if you go and check the lungs of the people who are living in more cleaner environments, say for example Shimla or other hill stations, if we medically scan their, I'm not sure whether scanning is the right word, but if we diagnose their lungs, right, then the color of their lungs would be pink, as it should be. But in cities like Delhi, many people are having black. The color of their lungs is turning black from pink, and this is all because of rising air pollution. Even if you are not a smoker, then as well, living in Delhi is as much as like every day you are exposed to those sort of air particles, that it is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes a day. Now you would be thinking that this is very dangerous thing, isn't it? I have some proofs as well for this thing, and here you go. See, pollution, we know that it is one of the biggest challenge that the world is facing at present. There are two main challenges. Recently, United Nations General Assembly, not Security Council, United Nations General Assembly, it was conducted in New York, and at that point of time, two things were decided. It was decided earlier as well. First is, of course, terrorism, and the second thing is climate change, right? Climate change is the second thing, and this is happening. There are many other factors as well responsible for climate change, but air pollution is one of them as well. And talking about Delhi, at present it is number 11 in terms of rank when we talk about the most polluted cities in the world. At present it is rank 11. It used to wear a crown of number 1 for the longest period of time, and there are many other Indian cities as well. They fall in this category of one of the most polluted cities around the world. Now, if you observe, or if you go through the reports or the graphs of this annual air pollutant level in Delhi, then you will find that throughout the year, most of the time, it is about it is somewhere around 3 to 4 times higher than the prescribed standards. So now you can understand that all these things, right, they fall in line now, isn't it? Now you can understand why the color of lungs is changing from pink to black, why it is even if you are not smoking, you are taking it, the damage that is happening to your lungs is equivalent to 10 cigarettes a day because of this thing. If you go through last year's Diwali report, or air pollution report after Diwali, or on the day of Diwali in fact, then we find that this 2.5 PM 2.5 level reached an unprecedented level of 700 micrograms per cubic meter. Can you imagine this thing? Do you know the severity of this thing? It means that the standards that are suggested or prescribed by WHO, we have already crossed 29 times that thing. Can you imagine? 29 times more than the prescribed standards of WHO, World Health Organization. And this 700 micrograms per cubic meter is one of the highest recorded, the world over the world. So this is the situation that is going on. Of course, so far, whatever we have discussed, I'm sure you know it very well, that even if you are thinking to burst some crackers, now I'm sure after reaching here you know that how dangerous this thing is. But it's not over yet. We are going to analyze it further. Now after post Diwali level, you can see here PM 2.5, it should be safe level is 60, but it was 238. You can multiply and find out how many times bigger it is. PM 10, it is supposed to be 100, but it was 570. Clearly you can say that 5 times higher than the safe level. Now talking about the weather condition, see, the problem with our country is, or what is happening, when I say problem with our country, I mean to say that the issue that we go through is that there is no sort of timing, isn't it? There is no particular timing for firecrackers. You can burst them anytime, anywhere you like, isn't it? And in our country, we know that this Diwali season, of course, Diwali is going to hit us on 19th, but as of now, I'm sure many of you would be you might have observed that children's particularly, they have started celebrating or bursting firecrackers 15-20 days before Diwali, and whatever the leftover is, whatever crackers they have left after Diwali, they will be bursted after Diwali as well. So you have a whole sort of 1 month, isn't it? You have 1 month of this firecracking thing. But of course, on the day of Diwali, it goes up, and it goes up drastically, and it is a sort of spike that we see, right? A sudden rise, you can say, if the oil pollution level is going this way, but on Diwali it will reach a peak level. So that's what happens in the Diwali time. And fortunately, you can say that this Diwali we are going to have a bit of warm weather. It is not going to be a proper winter on 19th of October as per the weather report. So we are not going to see mist on this Diwali, and because of that there won't be any sort of traps of this smoke, which normally Diwali is in the winter time. And if I'm not making a mistake, then last Diwali was in November, and at that point of time we had this mist as well, and because of this firecrackers and all these things, we were in this state of 700 micrograms per cubic meter. Anyways, so this time it is going to be a bit good, but winter is associated, or Diwali and winter go hand in hand, and because of that, these traps of smokes, we find them, and because of this, because naturally they stay at ground level, and because of that, many people are exposed to this smoke. Now the other thing is that this year there was not even a single day in Delhi. Can you imagine this thing, that there was not even a single day so far that you can say that it was the pollution level was below permissible standard. And if you go through the past 2 to 3 years, then you find that there were only couple of days, right? If you have, say for example, out of this 365 days, if you are just having maybe 20 days, then it is not at all acceptable, isn't it? This is a very serious issue. And I must also add here that it is not only the firecrackers that are the culprit, right? Firecrackers are just a part of it, because if this sort of pollution level is there throughout the year, then of course we know that construction is contributing in this pollution. Then we have vehicular traffic contributing. We are burning waste as well, that is also contributing. Apart from that, we have the issue of this stubble burning, right? And as we are talking about stubble burning, let me tell you that on our Study IQ channel you will find a particular lecture, a specific lecture on this stubble burning issue. I would recommend all of you to go through it as well, because it is available both in Hindi and English, and it will help you a lot, because the thing is it provides a solution as well, solution of how we can make you can say wealth out of this waste, and how we can get rid of this practice of stubble burning. So stubble burning is also, it has already started, and the way wind pattern is at present, right, the wind direction is northwesterly. That means if you follow this area here, then you find that the winds are coming from northwestern side, and they are heading towards Delhi. So if you are burning stubble in Punjab and Haryana, then of course it is going to, here you can see some hot spots, so of course they are going to hit this Delhi, and it is going to add, the problem is going to be more exacerbated. Now this problem is not only limited to Delhi, it is having a sort of impact on Indo-Gangetic belt. You can take Uttar Pradesh, you can take Delhi, Bihar, Jharkhand, you can take West Bengal, You can go till Bay of Bengal, right? This whole area is affected by this stubble burning. And what is happening because of this thing, this climate change, is also costing us very dearly. It is destroying 30% of wheat because of ozone pollution. What ozone does is it impacts this photosynthesis process, and because of that thing we are losing 30% of our grains, and we cannot afford this thing at all. We know that in our country there are many people who have to sleep hungry in the night, isn't it? And if we are losing 30%, and on the other hand we have 1.3 billion people which has to be fed, and if this is the thing, then we can understand that climate change is not only having a sort of impact on our lungs and health, it is also a sort of big economic burden as well. Now, talking about other things that we don't take into consideration, generally speaking, as I told you that there is no sort of month, or it could be pre-Diwali, post-Diwali, and on Diwali as well, firecrackers keep on going. At the same time, there are no fixed hours as well, isn't it? There is no sort of fixed slot, like say for example 7 to 9 p.m. After that and before that you cannot burst crackers. So there is no sort of rules like that in our country, and even if they are, I'm not sure whether they are followed or not. I'm sure they are not followed, even if they are there in the books. The other thing is that if we observe or if we study other countries, then we find that many countries have a sort of community firecracker shows, right? What this community firecracker show is, basically it would be the local administration, right? It would be your municipalities. They would be arranging this whole firecracker work thing, and you have to pay money or you can buy a ticket, etc., and then you can go there. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is watch firecrackers, that's it. And so everything would be done by local administration. There is fixed time, and so you have limited time, so everyone is happy, etc., etc., and then you go home, eat and sleep, that's it. So but here we don't have anything like that. We can do that thing as well. And one thing that we ignore, or we are ignoring for the longest period of time, is elderly people, right? Many of them are not happy at all. They go through a sort of psychological trauma. There are many patients, right, particularly CV patients, cardiovascular patients. For them it is a big trouble. Small infants and small toddlers, for them as well, this is a very frightening situation. There are many animals, we know about them, like cats and dogs. They can hear much louder than what we can hear, and these bombs and all these crackers and loud noises pushes them into a sort of in a very depressive state. They are in a sort of alert mode for a long period of time and this impacts their health as well. There are technologies that are available that can help us, like in USA they have noiseless crackers. We can get them. There is a technology through which there would not be any sort of smoke at all. Smoke free crackers are available as well. And I'm not saying that there would be many people whose religious sentiments would have got sort of affected because of this ban of firecrackers by Supreme Court. And I must say that Supreme Court has just banned the sale of firecrackers. That does not mean that I'm promoting people to burst crackers. What I'm saying is I'm just clarifying this thing. And the thing is, firecrackers, many people are arguing that this is something associated with old ages. We are doing it for generations and generations. Then I must say that if you go through the evidence, then you will find that before 1920s there was no sort of firecracker thing with Diwali. It was all about light, right? And it was Nadar brothers they set up this factory, this firecracker factory in Shivakasi, and after that we are saying that firecrackers are associated with Diwali. And I must also say that if you go through officially, or you may say that if you go through the history as well, then you will find that Diwali is a festival of light, right? It is not at all a festival of noise. So this is a big difference between Diwali. It is of course a festival of light. Now, talking about economic impact of this ban, now there are many people who are arguing at present. You can see them on the news channel and different media sources. They are saying that what about us? We have invested money and this is a business, this is our livelihood thing, etc. Then I must give you a couple of points. Now of course you have to think whether this is right or wrong, but we have to say that Supreme Court is one of the most respected pillar of our democracy, and whatever its decision is or verdict is, everyone has to follow it. It is not because of fear, but it is because of respect as well. And so far you can clearly say that the way pollution situation is in our cities, then we can agree with Supreme Court. Now this economic thing or livelihood thing, then of course this firecracker business is a seasonal business, right? This is not something that is feeding these people for throughout the year. This is a short period, and they make money out of this short period, that's all. And if you see Delhi's population, then it is 2.5 million. Sorry about that, 2.5 million population. That is roughly 2.5 crore people are living in Delhi. Now a simple question is life of millions is more important or trade for thousands? I'm sure you know the answer, isn't it? The other thing is that livelihood of few cannot be a reason for poor air quality, not only for human beings but for animals, for flora and fauna. And if you go through the constitution, I'm sure we cannot disagree with the constitution of India. You have right to life, and under this right to life, in fact Supreme Court has clarified this right to life as well, that it is life is not just existing in a sort of vegetative form. If you are in a coma, then you cannot say that you are enjoying life or you are having life. Of course you are breathing, no doubt about it. Technically, medically, you are living as well, no doubt about it. But when you talk about living, then that's a different thing. Breathing and living is altogether a different thing. And under right to life, it is clearly stated that every individual has a right to have a sort of clean environment in which he or she can live a healthy life, isn't it? So this is a right, and we can clearly say that for few thousand people, we cannot risk the lives of millions of people, because we know the lungs are turning black as well. And this verdict, we can clearly say that this is a sort of victory of citizens' right. But we have to also keep this in mind, that this right is not only something that is the duty of the government or Supreme Court. It is every one of us who is responsible for creating or for ensuring that we are living in a sort of clean environment. Now, it is not all bad as well. We are working as a country, right? If we say that nothing has happened at all, then that would be wrong as well, because if we go through last 10 to 15 years, then we see that technology of vehicles have improved a lot. We know that by 2020 we are going to leapfrog from BS4, we are directly going to jump to BS5. I beg your pardon, BS6, that's 6 anyways. So we are going to jump to BS6, we are going to bypass 5. If we go through the standards of industries, then they have improved as well. Energy efficiency has improved, LPG penetration has improved as well. But the way our environment is, or the way the facts are coming out, we can safely say that this is not enough at all. So what is going to be the solution? Now, if we observe other countries, then we find that there are some countries, they are taking some sort of extremely strong measures against this air pollution. And when we compare ourselves with Europe, then we can clearly say that we are lagging far behind them. And what they have done, and these are the solutions, right? Two things are here. And I'm sure if you see, when I was talking to you about solutions, then let me tell you, I'm not sure whether I have discussed these things with you. Logic is very important when you're writing your mains examination answer, right? Your answer should not be a sort of mythical. I'm sure all of us are capable of wild imagination, right? But that is not acceptable. If there is any sort of pilot project going on, if you've come across any sort of scientific discovery that can be helpful, then you can write them, you can use them as an example, but it should be factual. And here the things that we are going to discuss are factual, and you can use them, and it will make you stand out from the competition, right? If a examiner, if he's going through your answer, if it, say for example, if you encounter a question pertaining to this climate change or urbanization and pollution issue, then if you are using this example, then of course he or she will, of course, you will display yourself that you have gone through this, you have understood these thing. So city trees. Now what city tree is all about? This is city tree here that you can see on your screen. See, this is a city tree. Now let's see why they are important, why we are discussing this city tree. They are made up of moss, right? They are made up of a sort of algae sort of thing, and they can absorb carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and PM particles. They can absorb other greenhouse gases as well, and what they give us back is, of course, plenty of fresh oxygen. Now only a 13 feet tall such green, or you can say city tree, can do wonders. What it can do is it can suck 250 gram particles per day. Apart from that, if you calculate yearly CO2 mitigation, then it can take approximately 240 metric ton of carbon dioxide. This is huge, and the way it keeps on taking this polluting gas, and the way it is giving out oxygen, one wall is equivalent to 275 trees. Now this is beautiful, isn't it? This is a proper green thing we are talking about. And as you can see, it can be placed in a sort of a market. It can be placed outside your official area and other areas. You can keep it in your garden and other buildings as well. Here you can see it is in a pathway as well. So this is a thing. If we set up this thing, then it is going to stay there for a longer period of time. And India being a tropical country, if European countries which are quite temperate in, they have a sort of cold weather, so even if they are able to do it, then a country like India, right, we have both zones here, temperate and tropical zones, so we can easily get this thing done. And of course it is going to require some capital in the initial period, but I'm sure the maintenance is going to be cheaper in our country because of the access to sun and other things, other natural things. So this is a very good sort of thing that is going on in Europe. Other thing is smoke-free tower. Now let me show you what smoke-free tower is. This is the thing that you can see here is a smoke-free tower, and what it does, it is basically a very gigantic vacuum cleaner, right? Per hour it can clean up 30,000 cubic meter of air. Can you believe this? 75% of PM 2.5 and PM 10 particle from the air is cleaned by this smoke-free towers. And China, we know that China is a very fast, right? China is very fast in everything. That's what I believe. They are very hardworking. If we think that we are the only ones, then no, Chinese people are hardworking. I know them. They are hardworking and they are innovative as well. They will take risk and they will invest in all these things. So here you can see that what they are doing is they are in fact compressing this 1,000 cubic meter of air, of this polluted air, and they are making jewelries and ornaments out of it. Here is a small example here. The jewelry that you can see is made up of this polluting air. Can you believe that? And they are making money out of it, and they are investing this money in making more of this, of getting more this sort of towers, right? Smoke-free towers in different parts of their city. So this is the thing, and these are the things that we can apply as well. And the need of the hour at present is that, of course, we know that Delhi has become a sort of epicenter, but no one is talking about towns and cities, isn't it? There are other towns and cities, and there are many cities of our country that are we can find them in the list of top polluting or most polluted cities or towns in the world, and we are not talking about it. We are not taking them into consideration, and we know that this pollution thing is spreading like a wildfire in our country. Cities like Gwalior, Kanpur, and southern cities. Now southern cities, they are close to, this is South India roughly speaking, this is Sri Lanka here. Okay, so you have many cities here, and because of this land breeze and sea breeze coming in and land breeze going towards the sea, because of this phenomena, they used to be reasonably less polluted, but nowadays their pollution level is going up as well. So we have to replicate this sort of things, right? When I say replicate, I mean to say we have to replicate this sort of innovative things in our different parts, nooks and corners of our country. We have to replicate this sort of bans on these firecrackers. And don't you think so that we need a national policy when it comes to pollution? When we are designing our urban area or the existing urban area does require a sort of environmental policy. And I must say that measures are not taken by government. We see it is Supreme Court that is taking a stand, and many times it is also blamed for this thing called judicial overreach. What is judicial overreach? It basically means that you are stepping out of your domain and you are exercising power that is supposed to be exercised by other body. But what can it do? Supreme Court is responsible for protecting life of people. It is there for defending constitution and right to life. When it comes to people, then of course Supreme Court will intervene. And I personally think that there is no harm, because if government is in a deep slumber, if it is in a deep sleep, then of course Supreme Court has to take a stand. Now, talking about right to life, of course I must say that it is not only the duty of government or Supreme Court, it is a duty of every individual, including you and I. And this at present, this is just a ban on selling, but it is not going to be a cracker-free Diwali, because the people who have already purchased it, they are going to enjoy this cracker thing anyways. But if we share, if we spread awareness, if we educate people regarding its negative side, then of course many people will give up this sort of celebrations. And we have to get rid of these diesel vehicles. We have to get rid of our ruthless habit of chopping trees, and we have to ask ourselves, government, every person, every stakeholder, right? Every stakeholder has to ask that whether this sort of pollution thing, is it something pertaining to only seasons and festivals, or is it an ongoing thing? I'm sure you know the answer. And if once we identify that this is a sort of ongoing thing, only then we would be able to design strategy and plans, and only after that we would be able to implement something on this particular thing, right? So again, I must say, crackers are not the only culprit. There are other sources of pollution as well. You know it very well, from vehicles to construction and other things. And if the average level is beyond standard, that means that other things are also working here. So we can also say that this is a sort of ongoing thing. Now, dear friends, a closing remark or closing remarks. I must say that, dear friends, if we just follow WHO prescribed standards, if we keep this PM 2.5 below 10 micrograms per cubic meter, then we can add 4 years to our life. If we control other pollutants as per WHO standards, and if we are able to keep them below this prescribed standards, then we would be able to add 9 years. Can you imagine? On an average, 9 years. I don't think so there is anything more important or more dear than living or breathing a sort of fresh air and living a healthy and quality life. What do you think about it? With this, dear friends, I end this discussion here, right? Again, I would like to remind all of you about the 33% discount that is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. And I'm sure many of you would be saying that, what are we doing here? Are we promoting firecrackers? Not at all. These are digital crackers. They don't harm anyone, right? So this is the way we are celebrating, right? Just the digital firecrackers. That's it. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion. If you have any queries, feel free to give us a call on this number. Check out studyiq.com website. And if you haven't subscribed our channel yet, then I would recommend all of you to do it as soon as possible and turn the notification bell on. Share this lecture. This lecture will be helpful to many people in Delhi and other cities. I'm sure about it. It will spread awareness. The things that we have discussed are scientific, logical, and I'm sure that we will learn many things out of it. And if you have learned something out of it, then do give us your like, and do pass your valuable comment. If you have some add-on things, if you want to add something to this lecture, feel free to do it in the comment section. With this, dear friends, let us pledge that we will keep our city clean and green. With this, I end this discussion. I'll see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. Keep on having a sort of deep breathing. Enjoy your life. This is Prashant Mauni signing off. Take care. Goodbye. Jai Hind.